All right, good morning. Hi, everybody. Bob Watts here. I am owner of Becoming Who We Are Life Coaching. I am an RYT 500 registered yoga teacher with a focus in meditation and mindfulness practices. I also do my life coaching from a yogic perspective. And today I brought my friend and past client, Vivian Lurie, in to just share a little bit about her experience. A lot of times I get questions about what is life coaching or how does your practice compare? So good morning, Vivian. If you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and about how we met.
Okay, well, I'm a broker owner of my small single owner real estate company, and I've met Bob on and off over the years. And then we were at a seminar where he spoke about meditation and self-care, and our eyes met across the table. And I thought, this is my guy. I had been looking, I even Googled seminal meditation coaches and got nothing. And so after the meeting, I went up to Bob and I said, I need to call you. And we finally connected. And I believe it was October of 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's about right.
We started working together. I had some issues that I was losing sleep over that were really bothering me. And I had a very limited experience with meditation at a health resort. And it had been something I was on and off searching for. But knowing Bob outside of that, I just knew he was the right guy for me. So eventually we got together and I met with him weekly on a one-to-one. And I don't really know how to describe too much.
So hang on. I just want to mention one of the parts, the way that I do my practice is I start out with what's called a loudest noise evaluation. Yogis believe that there's something, they say, and not to be dramatic, but they call it pain and suffering. There's something in our life that's causing us pain and suffering. And while that sounds dramatic, things like loss of sleep or anxiety or things like that do affect the rest of your life. So that's kind of that first session that I do that I also offer on my website as a standalone thing besides my coaching, and I can do a write-off on what my recommended things out of my yogi toolkit might be helpful. But Vivian signed up for a 6-month program that I have. I think maybe we went a little bit longer than that. But I really believe that this process is not about a weekend retreat or a one-time meeting. It's really a commitment to a long-term process. So just share, if you will, with the folks what that 6-month period looked like and some of the things that we did. Everyone's different and everyone's prescriptive treatment will be different, but just talk a little bit about that.
Well, we met weekly for an hour and talked about how I was doing, what was going on in my head, in my life. And I did a guided meditation with Bob, and he really taught me how to look inside myself, really, and deal with the things that were causing me pain and suffering, if you will, at that time. And then March of 2020, COVID hit. So we started meeting on Zoom, and that worked very well. But I think we knew each other at that point. But I think all of us now have learned to continue friendships and make new ones through Zoom because we've had to.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we have this technology available to us. I've been on Zoom, and with my prior coaches, I've used Zoom before. One of them was local, but oftentimes schedule-wise, we couldn't do that. My other coach from the get-go lived in Asheville, North Carolina, so I wasn't going to fly up to Asheville every week, although that would be lovely if I could. So this Zoom format seems to work really well for my other coaching clients. But go ahead.
So I don't really know how to describe exactly how it happened. We had a couple of really good, what I call breakthroughs, or I don't know, I guess that's the word. And I didn't realize what my goal was, but my goal was, I learned, to let go of the things that were out of my control And the things that were keeping me up at night were out of my control. And I have learned to say, okay, here it comes in my head. I know that no matter what I do in my head, it's not going to change anything. So I'm going to let it go. And it's an oversimplification of what happened in my head. But I have learned now to do that, to let go of the things I can't control. And the timing could not have been better because I can't control what's going on in the world now with COVID. And I won't say sailed through, but because of my practice that I learned from Bob, I've really passed through this past year. I don't even want to jinx myself, but I would say pretty much unscathed, except for the loneliness for the touching of people, my grandchildren, particularly my children, and being out and about in the business world like I was before, because I'm of the age that it would be dangerous for me to do that. So I'm so grateful to Bob and for
And I
what.
want to jump in real quick, Vivian, just to talk about this process, because when we're in the training, they talk about us working with our first student and then trying to draw from our experience, and that would be ourselves, right? We're working with our first students, that is ourselves, and then trying to find the commonality or the overlap in the stories. And there's a lot of things that our situations had that overlap, and it's this. One of the things you mentioned was this breakthrough, and you can describe that in a number of different ways, but it's like peeling the layers of the onion is one thing. It's like, aha, that's really what is at the heart of this, or just seeing things anew. One of the things one of the foundations of yoga is beginner's mind. So we think we know the way things operate, and then we get to a point where we're like, oh, wow, look at this. And it was my experience when I was going through my training that I would talk to some of the other teacher trainers and some of the other RYT 500 instructors there. And they're like, yeah, that continues, throughout your life. So one of my goals with my clients is not really to teach them so much, but to teach them how to teach themselves, how to navigate, because life's always going to happen, right? These things, whatever people come to me with, maybe in a couple of years, it's something different. But when those things arise, knowing what to do to get yourself back on track. So go ahead and tell us like some more things that showed up outside, because so many people have this idea that, they want to get good at meditation. I want to get really good at meditation, but that's really not the goal. The meditation or the yogic practice or reflective writing or whatever these things are, whatever tool I prescribe is really designed to get better at life out there, and that's where things show up. And you said it so well, you said, I don't know how to describe what happened. And that's what almost everyone says, because you just start noticing things as you move through the world that are different than the way they were before. So do you have a couple of examples of that?
Oh, in the real estate world, for sure. We have things that happen when we're in the middle of a contract. And I used to lose sleep over those things. And my husband used to say, Vivian, you have a house. This is just business. And I say, no, it's people. And they're my problem and I need to take care of them. So I learned how to sleep at night and still do my job. And it's just, it's a relaxing, revitalizing, I don't know what words to use, but it's just changed my life. I don't want to say dramatically, but inside myself, I know myself better now, and I know how to help myself when I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I really don't. So
yeah, and I'll chime in on the real estate thing, because as some of these folks out here don't know, I also own my own real estate company, and these transactions can be very stressful, and it's like, one time I remember in one of our sessions, we were talking about monumental things going on. And I did have a really big life crisis in my family, which I was able to navigate. But some of these, someone's got their house that they're moving out of, and then something falls apart with the transaction, then they're homeless. There's all kinds of things. Real estate is a stressful business, and we're we're a part of that, and we really care about our clients. If you're a good agent, you really care about your clients, but there's just some things you can't control. I was sharing before we started the video with Vivian about a client that really, really, really wants this house, but the sale is contingent on the purchase is contingent on the sale of their own house. So that's not something I can control. We didn't get the offer. They didn't pick our offer. They picked someone else's. So, but again, those are things I used to lose sleep of. And now I don't even consider that. That's not even really an option, because I know I've moved so far away from this idea that I somehow can control an outcome. I no sooner can control or control changing the rotation of the earth than I can someone's financing. You know, no matter how hard I beat at that, or how smart I get, I'm not going to be able to do
You can try, but it won't work.
that. Yeah.
But even in my personal life, when things have come up in the family, there are some things I can't control and there are some things I can't. When you have in-law children, you learn to do a lot of this and just kind of let life happen. I had to learn as a young mother, and my children have to learn as young parents. And it's really enriched my life so much just by being able to step back and say, I have no control over this. I'll just be here when they need me.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, when we jump in and try and intervene in whatever it is, and we're pounding on these things that we can't change, not only do we cause ourselves the pain and suffering by doing that, trying to reach, accomplish something that's outside of our control, and stress ourselves out and shorten our lives and all these things. But sometimes we just prevent others from learning maybe a valuable lesson that they need to learn, you know, so it's kind of getting out of the way and that kind of thing. I'm going to tell a quick story, and I don't think I've shared this with you. I was sharing it with my yoga class I taught yesterday, but my daughter is applying for a new job. And this example relates to how I move through the world differently. So she's applying for a new job. She had to come by my house. She's 24, and she needed to print a resume. So I said, that's fine. You know, she's like, I'll be there at 10:15. Well, I have to leave at 10:45 to go teach a yoga class at the YMCA. So she isn't there at 10:15. I text her, I got to jump in the shower. I go and jump in the shower. When I get out of the shower, ready to go to my class, she's standing there with a stressed out look on her face because she's locked the keys in her car. So she's on her way to an interview that's at 11 o'clock. It's 10:30, and the Papa Lock service or whatever it is, AAA, isn't going to be there until 11. So she's having to call this prospective employer and tell them that she's going to be late. Not even her first day, but her interview. So she's experienced some stress, and I've done some of this work with her as well. So she's kind of keeping herself in check. And then I have the realization, she's like, but Dad, I've parked you in. So her car is blocking my car in, and now it's about 20 till 11, and I have to leave at a quarter till 11 to make it to the gym to unlock the door for my folks to get in. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I just am going to have to order an Uber. And I had from yoga, I had lunch date with a client, and then I had another Zoom call, and then I have an inspection that I have to go to. So I'm going through all of these things, and I guess I might as well hire a driver today. I'm out of my control, right? There's nothing I can do to move her car. There's time points that need to be met. And what's the worst thing that can happen? I don't make it to my class. You know, they will understand, right? So I'm ordering the Uber, and I see a car pull up in the driveway, and I shout to my daughter, hey, I'm going, the Uber's here. Good luck at your interview. And she's moved her interview to 11:45, so she has time. And the guy jumps out of the Uber, and it's not the Uber driver, it's the Papa Lock guy. And
Wow.
so I'm like, oh, well, wait, can I cancel the Uber now? Or is he going to be able to do this? So long story short, lots of the horn going off and alarm going off on her car. I realized I hadn't even ordered the Uber because there was some kind of mass disclosure that I had to punch a button. And so I was able to, all of this got resolved. She was able to back out and get out of my way. I'm off to the Y, and I was there at 11:01, 1 minute late for opening the door for my class at 1:15. So the old me, and probably the old her prior to this, you know, the stilling mindfulness practice, it would have looked very different. You know, and part of me wishes as a younger parent that I would have had these practices back then and maybe been a little bit softer about my approach to parenting. But again, I needed to learn those lessons too. So, but I just thought that was a great story, and I was able to share that story with my folks in my yoga class. So these are the kinds of things that show up out there after you've had a practice, but probably consistency is one of the most important things, and just sticking with it. I do a weekly online class called Demystifying Meditation on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. I'm offering that for folks that I'll put in the comments below that see this video, a free couple of sessions of that if you want to check in. What else, Vivian, would you say is important as far as moving forward in this practice?
Consistency, like you just said. Morning, I had to leave the house at 20 to 7 to make my 7 o'clock Rotary meeting that had moved to a different location, which was a little farther. And I still set the alarm and gave myself time to have my 10 minutes of me time, I call it, before I did anything else, because that sets the tone for the day. And that's what's gotten me through this pandemic and my life and everything else, is giving myself that 10 minutes in the morning for just me. And it does set the tone for the day. So consistency is the key.
Yeah, and one of the things, and this is also accessible, at least I've learned this over time. I call it, I found my internal reset button or a pause button. So when something comes up and what does my friend say, the wheels fall off the bus, like when something happens in your day that kind of throws you a curveball, there's always an opportunity, even if it's just a couple of minutes, to breathe, to center yourself, to gain perspective, to realize it's outside of your control, and then you can move forward in that positive direction through your day.
And you talked to me about traffic, or made that suggestion, traffic, red lights, just a few seconds to maybe not close your eyes when you're driving, but just take a few breaths and settle yourself and say, is getting upset over this really going to change it? No. And it just gives you a different way to deal with day-to-day stuff. And it's great. I'm so glad. I'm so happy that Bob and I connected, and it's really improved my life tremendously.
Yes, and this is what I'm here to do. My work with my first coach, I did some purpose for existence stuff, and I'm here to love, teach, and heal. And through this coaching practice, I'm able to give this beautiful gift to other people and see them transform as I did. So just a couple more things I want to mention. My website, it's www.becomingwhoweare.com. And on that website, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says Take Action. I'll put a couple of links to that so you can read more if you're interested. And also the discount code for my Demystifying Meditation class. I also offer a free 25-minute consultation. If you're just interested in learning more about this and there was something, you had some questions, you can put them in the comments below. But you can also just connect with me on Zoom so we can meet face-to-face in this format and take it from there. I think that's all I got. Thank you, Vivian. I love you.
I love you.
All right. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.